What is up, college sports fans? What is on tap for this car video edition of Couz's Corner? I want to kind of give you my thoughts after having about a little over 12 hours to reflect on the Backyard Brawl game. I wanted to kind of give you my thoughts. I've had some time to digest everything, let the emotions subside, and kind of give you my honest opinion on what happened last night and what my thoughts are going forward for this West Virginia team. So pull a chair up, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz, and welcome in to another edition of Couz's Corner. Let's pull up a chair and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. As you can tell, number one, don't try this at home. I'm on my way home from the game. Not going to have time to do a video after I get home, so figured I would just go ahead and do it while I'm driving. Yes, there's a lot of things that can be blamed for West Virginia's performance or for their loss. You can blame Coach Brown not going for it on 4th and 1 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter when we were up by 7. You can say he should have went for it. And to an extent, I agree with that, but there's also a part of me that understands why he did what he did. In his post-game presser, he said that, the defense had performed well the last couple of drives. Felt like, if we could pin them deep, it would be tough for them to drive the length of the field on our defense the way they've been playing. So he just thought punting would be the best option. Didn't want to take a chance on giving them the ball at midfield if they didn't get it. And Pitt's defense had historically been really good on short yardage situations. So he was kind of playing with the analytics there, which, by the way, in my opinion, I think Neal Brown sometimes uses analytics too much to make decisions. And if you've ever heard the saying paralysis by analysis, sometimes I think that happens with him. I think he overthinks things too much, but I digress. I understand what he's saying, and I guess that makes sense. So in that case, you've got to, our defense should not let them drive the ball 98 yards. That's bottom line. The defense should have stopped them right there. So you have to put that on the defense. Now, but that being said, the defense also did some really good things. Our defensive line stepped up, had, I think, 4 or 5 sacks last night. Really looked as good as Pitt's defensive line, I thought, if not better at times. Dante Stills had a heck of a game. So I was proud of how our defensive line stepped up. I felt like our DBs, losing Charles Woods hurt on the defensive side. He's a top corner not only on the team, but arguably in the Big 12 Conference. I hope his injury is not serious and long term. I haven't heard an update yet as of the recording of this video, but I hope he's not out long. But he could be, I don't know. But losing him hurt. And then his backup, Wesley McCormick, got that targeting call on him in the second half, and they had to take him out. So we were basically playing with a third-string corner for a big part of the second half, in that fourth quarter at least, and that hurt us. I think it really hurt us. And an injury played a role there, and then that targeting call, which it was probably the right call. But that being said, they should have called targeting on the play where Bryce Ford-Wheaton got hit in the head too. So I didn't feel like the referees called the game consistently at all. Also that, the drop at the end of the game with Reese Smith, I felt like it was a catch. I was at the game, obviously, and had a pretty good view from my seat and also on the scoreboard. And it looked to me like he called the ball and it was under the ball. Even if the tip of the ball touched the ground, it looked like he had control of it with his hand under, which should be a catch in my opinion. And I didn't see him bobble it at all when he rolled over. So, in my opinion, that should have been a catch. And then they gave Pitt a catch on a similar play earlier in the game. So I felt like the officiating was extremely inconsistent. There were way too many officials' reviews. It should not take 4 hours to get through a college football game. But that being said, the defense, could have played better. They should not have allowed that 98-yard drive. But yet they did some good things. Offensively, Bryce Ford-Wheaton, A lot of people are on him for dropping that pass that led to the interception. Guys, if it wasn't for Bryce Ford-Wheaton, West Virginia would not even have been in that game. He had already caught 2 touchdown passes, made good catches on touchdowns. And if you remember earlier in the game, JT Daniels had dropped back to throw the ball. He got his arm hit. The ball fluttered up in the air. I don't remember what quarter this was in. I think it was the second quarter. The ball fluttered up in the air, was basically up for grabs, and could have easily been a pick six. Bryce Ford-Wheaton comes out of nowhere and goes up and catches that ball out of the air. Not only saves a turnover, prevents a turnover, but gets a first down for the Mountaineers. And if I'm not mistaken, we may have scored on that drive, but at the very least, we prevented them from scoring. So, I mean, he made some really big plays in that game that kept West Virginia in the game and put them in a position to win in the first place. So to blame him for the loss is just absolutely ludicrous, in my opinion. Did I get mad at him when he dropped that pass in the moment? Absolutely, I did. I'm a fan. I do get emotional. But looking after time to reflect and looking back, that game's not on Bryce Ford-Wheaton. He's going to make that catch probably 99% of the time. Just the one time he didn't was in a bad spot. Our offensive line, they played okay, didn't play great, but they did really good rushing. I mean, we ran the ball for almost 200 yards against the Pitt defense, who was one of the best in the country last year at stopping the run, with most of their guys back. So you got to give them kudos for that. But I thought they should have done better in pass protection, but there again, an injury hurt us there too. Starting right guard Jordan White went out with an injury in the second half. They slid Doug Nestor back to guard and had to put Jaquay Hubbard out on that right tackle spot. I think that hurt West Virginia a little bit there. But that being said, injuries crept up and hurt West Virginia. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just kind of laying out all the reasons the game went the way it went. But because the other guys that come in have to step up and make plays. I mean, there's no excuses in big boy football. But, the injuries hurt us. But as far as the positives, I want to look at the positives too. There are some positive things to take away from that game. I'm not saying we take away a moral victory. It was a loss, and you got to give Pitt credit for winning the game. But guys, if you couldn't watch that game and see some positives, I don't know what you were watching. I mean, JT Daniels, first of all, was as described. I mean, his stats won't set the world on fire. I mean, he had 214 yards passing, which doesn't blow you away. But, man, the way that he got those yardage, he was extremely efficient with the football, made excellent decisions. His throws were almost on point, with the exception of maybe 2 that I can think of. Almost every throw he made was on point. He put the ball where it needed to be. A few times there were incompletions that were on point. And what I mean by that, he threw the ball away when it needed to be thrown away. One time he was rolling out to his left, threw the ball into the dirt where nobody could intercept it. Only his guy could get it, or it would be incomplete and stop the clock. Then another time he drew a pass interference penalty by throwing the ball short to Sam James and forcing the defender to have to grab Sam James. And then that pass in the fourth quarter late in the game to Mike O'Laughlin down the sideline, guys, that was a beautiful throw. Rolling out, avoided the pass rush, rolled out to the right, flicked that ball down the right sideline, directed Mike O'Laughlin down the field. They communicated well. Threw that ball right where it needed to be thrown. I mean, JT Daniels did his part to win that game. And then if you have a chance to watch his post-game press conference, if you haven't yet, go do it. The guy is an absolute dog as far as a leader. I mean, if anybody on that team would probably run through a brick wall for that guy, I would have to imagine, because he showed great leadership. And I've always heard he was a great teammate, and he absolutely proved it in his post-game press conference. Went to bat for his guys, went to bat for Bryce Ford-Wheaton, talked about how he'd, go to battle with this team any day of the week. I mean, just really, really loved his post-game press conference. And it made me feel good about the rest of this season, to be honest with you. A little bit more optimistic. But, JT Daniels was a positive. You look at, obviously, C.J. Donaldson. I mean, that kid's going to be a star. I think they should have given him the ball more. I mean, he carried the ball 7 times for like 125 yards or something. I mean, and I think his yards after contact was like, I think he averaged about 12 yards after contact or something like that. I mean, just really, really good performance from a true freshman now who was playing tight end when he came to West Virginia. So, I mean, he just came out of nowhere. Not to the staff, but I think the fans across the country, man, nobody knew who C.J. Donaldson was. Now they do. But they should have fed him the rock more, in my opinion. He was doing a great job. And even in pass blocking, there was a couple times, one in particular, I mean, he stepped up and just absolutely protected J.T. Daniels when they needed protection. And the guys, true freshmen don't always do that. A lot of times true freshmen struggle in pass blocking. C.J. Donaldson, maybe it's because of his time playing tight end, I don't know, but he can flat out block. I think he's already physically ready to be a really good player at the Power 5 level, even as a true freshman at 6'2", 240 pounds. So I was really impressed with him. Huge bright spot. I thought our receiving corps, I mean, other than a few drops, they did have a few drops. They had different defensive backs at times, but I feel like that was as much Pitt's defensive backs playing well as much as it was West Virginia's wide receivers not playing well. So I give kudos to Pitt for that. But at the end of the day, guys, I do think there's some positives. You cannot watch that game and tell me this offense especially, is not better than last year. I think the verdict's still out on the defense maybe. I think our D-line is as advertised. I think the verdict's still out maybe on our secondary and our linebackers. Not saying the linebackers played bad, but to be honest, I was at the game in person, so sometimes it's hard to see everything. You actually have a better view watching it on TV at home. Plus, I don't hear commentators and get their thoughts on what's going on. But I didn't see anything that made me worried about the linebackers, but I also didn't see anything that blew me away either. But I really wasn't, I wasn't looking for that because I was watching the game as a fan. So I wasn't sitting there analyzing the game as an analyst, so to speak, just as a fan. So I didn't really. So I don't want to. It's probably not even fair for me to comment on the linebackers, to be honest. But I did see a lot of positives that we can take away. I still think this is an 8 to 9 win football team potentially, guys. I'm not. I don't think I ever did a video on it, but my prediction on a video I did with Country Roads Webcast on an episode I did with those guys, I said 8-4, and I'm sticking to that. I predicted we'd lose to Pitt. I predicted we'd go on to beat Kansas, Towson, Virginia Tech, lose to Texas, and then go on to lose to Baylor and Kansas State. So I think we still got a really good chance to finish 8-4, maybe even a little better than that. I think we're going to be competitive in the Big 12 Conference. And I'm looking forward to seeing, this team fix their issues that they did have in Game 1. I think they can do that. None of the stuff is not fixable. Like JT Daniels said in his press conference, everything that they did wrong is fixable. He said it's not an effort issue, it's not an attitude issue, it's not a chemistry issue. It's all tangible things that can be fixed. So that makes me feel good. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts, guys. I know I kind of rambled in this one, but I was just kind of putting my thoughts out there, my random thoughts. Obviously wasn't able to make an outline because I've been in the car all day, but just wanted to kind of throw this out to you guys, let you know what I'm thinking here the day after, so to speak. And I want you guys to let me know in the comments, what do you think? Am I overly optimistic? Am I overly pessimistic? What do you think? Am I just where I need to be? I'm trying to look at it objectively as I can. With that being said, I really appreciate you tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Don't forget to drop that comment. Don't forget to check out my merch store. All the other links in the description as well to do some of your online shopping and stuff like that. In the meantime, I appreciate you tuning in. And until the next time, Q Country Roads.